Hi everyone. If we haven't met before, my name is Ashley and I'm a full-time artist located in Bryson City, North Carolina. I opened my Main Street store in 2019 to function as my art studio and gallery, and the majority of items in my store are my own art, prints and stickers, but I do carry some gift items, books, and art supplies. I spend most of my day painting and checking out customers. I have a large wall easel where I paint large media and a 12-foot work table where I work on smaller items like these hand-painted journals that I've been working on. Customers really enjoy the fact that all of my work is in full view and they can see art in progress. All of my paint supplies are also in full view, so I try to keep it all really organized. I'm a tad OCD, so I like to organize everything by brand of paint and then by color. It makes things very easy to find. I find that I cannot work well when things are in disarray, so I will usually spend an entire morning cleaning and putting things in the correct place before starting any work. I also always brew a cup of green tea and start the candle warmer before painting as well. Little rituals like this keep me focused. As I've mentioned in other videos, I'm often listening to an audiobook. On this particular day, I was listening to the whodunit mystery, Listen to the Lie, which had a very witty main character, and I was really into it. You can see customers coming in and out of the store while I paint, and it may not look like it, but I do actually greet them and tell them to let me know if they have any questions. At this point, the paint on the front of the journals was pretty dry, so I started using this wax pencil to do some mark making just to make the fronts a little more interesting. My store is filled and overflowing with larger paintings I've done, but I really like making smaller, more attainable art. I even have small pieces painted on wood and cardboard that start at $6. Customers often remark that my work is underpriced, but I really like the idea of being able to offer affordable and diverse art selections. At this point, I sat down to start lettering the fronts of the journals. Sorry I didn't realize that my back was to the camera when I was doing this, and you can't really see much, so I'll just tell you that I write, "Beautiful girl, you can do hard things" on most of them. A few years ago, a young boy asked me sadly where the beautiful boy journals were, and he just about broke my heart, so I also started adding beautiful human to a few of them as well. At this point, it was around 12:30 and I was getting hungry, so I started to wrap up a little and put the wet journals back in the drying rack and organized a little and placed my order at the food truck down the street and asked my dog Wookie if she was ready to go and get some lunch, and she was. Wookie is always excited for her daily walks, so we went out the store and I put my super fancy back in 5 minutes sign up so that people would know I was still open, and we started walking down to the corner. Our town is very dog friendly, so Wookie always has a ton of smells that she can pick up on our walk, and she knows exactly where we're going. She gets excited for lunchtime. So funny, when we got to the food truck, my husband was there picking up his lunch as well, and Wookie was very excited to see him. So was I. One of my favorite places to eat is the Ravensborg food truck, which is right down the way from my store, and the chef Charlie keeps most of the town nutritiously well fed. I love his food. He also once cooked for Taylor Swift. Being right next to the fire station, I get to see the firefighters go in and out all day long, and I can tell you they've been really busy with wildfires and house fires this month. Very grateful for all of them. Next to the fire station is the community theater that is currently being restored, and they're doing a great job on that. And then we come up to the HAZEL house, which my husband and his partner Jamie restored a few years ago and is now currently an Airbnb. Wookie's so cute. The second I open up the door, she always runs right straight back to her bed, which is under my counter back where I paint. I typically take about 20 minutes to eat lunch and relax. And doesn't Charlie's salad look amazing? I'll usually mix a Baraka drink and then scroll some social media and even catch up on a few phone calls if there aren't customers in the store. It's still not quite season here in the Smoky Mountains. The busy season is from May until December, so customers coming in the store have been a little sporadic right now. There's been a lot of spring breakers visiting this month, but it does give me a lot of time to get work done when there's a little bit of downtime. I'd varnished the journals, and while they were drying, I used a hand-cut stamp to make little labels that will eventually go on the outside of the packaging. Then I brought out another project that I had in the works, which was these 11 by 14 abstract bears. I try not to waste any paint, so the colors that I was using in these bears was left over from the hand-painted journal colors that I'd used earlier in the day. I have about a dozen of these wood dish racks, and they make great drying racks for small pieces. By mid-afternoon, the journals were completely dry, and I was able to start packaging them and putting the final labels on them. I'm often chatting with customers and asking where they're from, and this particular day, people were from England, Michigan, and Chicago that I can remember. I do sell these as 5x7 canvases and also as journals in my Etsy shop if you're interested. I use an old school pricing gun to label and price all the items in my store. And when I'm using it, I always think about the movie What's Eating Gilbert Grape, when Gilbert was pricing cans of food before the big fancy Foodland chain took over. After finishing the packaging, I spent a few minutes just tidying up and replenishing some inventory, and I always keep a log in my journal of what I accomplished that day in terms of artwork. Then it was time to take Wookie on a walk again and get some sunshine, so we walked down the street to go and get a treat from the bakery, and my husband was working at the bakery filling in for somebody. I think he was a little annoyed that I was filming. Just kidding, he's always happy to see me. Before we went back to the store, we made a little detour to go to the hardware store to see the new baby chicks that they had just gotten in. Back at the store, Wookie got her own treat. My store is dog friendly, so we often have lots of furry visitors during the day, including my friend Scott and his dog Safi usually stop by at least once a day, and this also made some customers very happy. I love when people ask the name of other people's dogs but never ask the name of the owner. It's a funny phenomenon. I could have been done for the day, but I decided before leaving that I would go ahead and varnish the bears that I had finished, and also to varnish a couple more of the journals that hadn't been completed yet. And all in all, I think it was a pretty productive day, and this was a pretty typical day for me. The only thing left to do for the day is to balance the cash drawer, make sure everything is off, clean up a little and tidy up things, and then I head home. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon.